Blast me to the mortal realms! It's time for the Mad Merlins review of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer, issue 22 by Hachette Partworks and Games Workshop. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine review. So this issue we get two brand new paints, which are Averland Sunset and Gryph-Charger Grey. So we'll take a look at those later on. We have a few more core rules to focus on, and we have a bumper paint guide to deal with as well. And by the looks of things, we're going to learn about some ghosty boys as well. So before we dive into the magazine, don't forget to like this video if you are enjoying the content. And if you are, why not subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? Doing so is great. It helps get the channel noticed, and of course helps me make more mad content for you to enjoy. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so by dropping a comment down below. Let me know what your favourite contrast paint, seeing as we get our first one of the collection. Personally, Basilicanum Grey is growing on me as a go-to for a nice dark grey shade instead of non-oil. But I must admit I am using Stormfiend for quite a few things. It's a slightly darker shadowy grey to Gryph-Charger Grey, but it's got a bit more blue than grey in it. And it works really well for things like brains. So I've been using that on my Tyranids. Also using it for cold weather gear for Star Wars characters. And yeah, it's pretty good all-round paint. So let me know which one you are enjoying using in the comment section down below. And without further ado, we'll dive into issue 22. Let's dive in then. So we've got our two new paints. So Averland Sunset is a pretty good yellow. It gives you really good coverage. And yeah, I find it very useful for pretty much any sort of yellows I'm doing. We'll be using this for a lot of eyes on the Orc side of things. And a few bits on some of the others, I reckon. Next up then, we've got Gryph-Charger Grey, which is, like I said, it's a nice blue grey colour, and this will be used on a lot of Gryph Hounds, flesh and stuff. So yeah, pretty cool grey. We'll be using that quite a lot in the collection. And we will be getting more contrast paints as the collection goes on. But for the moment, we've got a few to get going with. So in this issue, we learn about Averland Sunset and Gryph-Charger Grey and how to use them. And we get some more core rules. So going through our full contents then, we have the Realm of Shadow, learning about death in the mortal realms. We have two new articles, Stormcast Origins and Cunning Plans for the Cruel Boys. Two paint articles, so all about shading and how to use our two new paints. And then we got our play section, so we got core rules, parts 2 and 3, and we have Vital Intelligence, our latest pitched battle. So let's have a look at the Realm of Shadow. Darkness shrouds the land, fog chokes the forests of twisting trees, and the wind whispers lies and half-truths into the ears of travellers. This is Ulgu, the Realm of Shadow. In this realm, the magic of deception and illusion holds sway. It takes a sharp mind to be aware of all the dangers one faces in Ulgu. So yeah, this goes on, continuing from last issue where we had the fold out for the different armies of Ulgu. And we're going to look into it a bit deeper and get to know some of them a bit more. So we go through here, we start talking that the realm is divided into 13 different dominions. These are ruled over by the Elven Shadow Gods, Malarian and Morathi. Countless kingdoms can be found within the gloom, from dens of Skaven assassins to cities of humans. to shadow temples where demons are worshipped as gods. So yeah, it's probably one of the most trickiest and darkest lands that you'll come across in all of the Mortal Realms. So it's pretty dangerous and very dark and mysterious at the same time. So Realm Stone of Ulgu is Shadowstone. It's a key material in how to cast illusion magic. It can be used to trick the foe and hide secret deeds, even woven into robes, to help you become one with the shadows. So Ulgu is a land of secret and lies. So there are many covens, mostly of the elven kind, or even gods of chaos. And there's, of course, war in shadows as well as war in all the other mortal realms. So yeah, sometimes the elves clash against each other. So the soul-stealing Idneth up against the bloodthirsty Daughters of Cain here, as Morify finishes off a dark ritual, which some of the Idneth have found not to be a very nice ritual and tried to stop her, because they are both part of Order, but they are also both part of the darker side of Order. Morify more, I think, than the Idneth. But yeah, pretty cool background there for Ulgu. Moving on then, we have Death in the Mortal Realms. So Death in the Mortal Realms is just as filled with strife and warfare as life. All mortal beings possess a soul. When their body is slain, this soul will often be dragged back into the same wars and conflicts that dogged them in life. Even the afterlives in the realm of death are racked with a constant battle. So yeah, where Warhammer 40,000, it's a galaxy of endless war. The Mortal Realms is a realm of endless war, pretty much. Because whilst you might have enjoyed a rather frivolous life as a human and maybe got lucky to avoid conflict, not so much afterlife. There's chances your soul will be turned into a night haunt, your body might be raised into the ranks of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and who knows, your body may even be resurrected from the grave as a Deadwalker zombie. So yeah, more on the Death of the Mortal Realms. So yeah, here we have a Necromancer on his cart of death with hordes of zombies swarming around him. Khorne loves death because he is a bringer of death. So here we have Skull Taker, who likes to collect skulls and even weaves them into his cape. And sometimes even the grots like to get in on things. So yeah, nobody knows what exactly happens to Oryx and Grots when they die, but you're bound to find out if you go to Shaiish. Up next, we have a couple of new collect articles. So first off, we have Stormcast Origins. So these tables allow you to generate background stories for your Stormcast Eternal units for you to add to your collection. To do so, roll a d3 and pick a row of backgrounds, then roll another d3 to pick a column of backgrounds. Each of the table contains backgrounds for different types of Stormcast units. So here we have one for champions, so any heroes in your collection. We have one for soldiers. So these are all our infantry units, such as Vindictors and Praetors. And then finally we have creature origins, so for our Gryph-Hounds and Gryph-Chargers, etc. And we have one for the Cruel Boys as well, so this is Cunning Plans. It's much the same, we have D3 tables, so one for the bosses, one for the boys, and one for the weedy gits. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice fun little tables to help flesh out your collection. So moving on to our bumper paint guide then, we have technique on how to shade. So we got a shade brush here. So we got the bristles. Again, we got the ferrule and the actual handle. So how to use a shade paint. So shade paints are very thin paints. As we see here, we've done an undercoat of Wraithbone and then shaded over with Agrax Earthshade, giving it a dusky bone sort of colour. You can also use contrast paints to shade with, and here we see again, undercoated with Wraithbone, we have Skeleton Horde, which gives a much more brighter bone look to the model. We also see here what's known as some tide marks, where the paint has dried a little too heavy and could have really been done with absorbing and moving around more. So we got some previews here of upcoming models and how we're going to paint them. So here we have adding definition by applying a shade. So before we got all our flat colours, then after that we apply a shade. So there's things such as focus shades, where we apply just to certain areas. How to fix shade pooling. There's a recess shade, which is much like the name suggests. We use a thinner brush and apply shade directly into the tightest recesses of armor panels. And we have an all over shade here. So this is how we got our first Sylvaneth models. They're going to be painted very similar to how the Mortal Realms premium kit painted it by the looks of things there, our Branch Witch. Although we'll probably be using a base coat of Cataclysm Flesh rather than Dryad Bark. So yeah, we got base coats there done, then we're shading it all over, and then once it's dried, it's picked out a bit more definition. Larger models and how to shade them. So what you want to do is paint shade one side at a time, or one half of the model at a time. So here we're shading this side and this corner first, and then we flip it around and we hold the paint side we've already shaded, and we start shading the other side. You might want to protect your surface by putting some paper towel or even a bit of newspaper down. And here we see how to fix tide marks. So as I mentioned earlier, tide marks are where it's dried and has left a bit of a definite definition as to where two parts of shade dried at different times. So the best way to fix this is to paint over the larger area with your base coat and then reapply the shade, blending it in a lot better. Next up then, we have our paint guide on how to use our brand new paints. So how to use Averland Sunset and Gryph-Charger Grey. So for our Orruk models, we're using it to paint all the dangling tassels here on the shields, even that chicken leg on the pot grot there, and also using it to pick out the primal layer amber there as well. And then we're using Averland Sunset to pick out the blonde hair on the Knight Arcanum and the beaks on the Gryph-Chargers, plus the talons and beak on Taros there. We're then using Gryph-Charger Grey to coat all over Taros, giving extra definition to the whiter area and even the wings as well. And then we have our finished Stormcast models. So continuing on with our core rules, we've got a continuation of the basic concepts. So this focuses on units and armies, coherency, etc. Tools that you'll need for playing your games. And then we go straight into page 3. So abilities, how they trigger, simultaneous effects, etc. And then how to start creating a battlefield. Next up then, where's our mission for the issue? So we have Vital Intelligence. So we've got the Stormcast force of the Lord Imperatant, Knight Arcanum and the Stormstrike Chariot. And the Alliance of Destruction has a kill boss with Stabgrot, Swampcaller Shaman of Potgrot, and 3-man Skewer Bolt Boys. So again, we're playing over the awesome battle mat, and we are deploying in small corners. And yeah, pretty cool. So we've got some nice little mission rules here to read and bring into effect, which is pretty cool. But that's it for this issue. Focusing on the next two issues then. So we have our Lord Aquila with the background for the Necroquake, and we have a new battle plan to play. And we have our first Gloomspite Gitz model in the form of a Loon Boss. So yeah, pretty cool. So we also learn about the Lunar Spike kits and how heroic actions can be used in games. So there we have it. That was issue 22. And it's a paint issue, but a really good one. I like the paint guide in it. It's very handy. But let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do consider giving it a like. And if you want to support the channel, there are of course all my links in the description down below. But until next time, thank you all for watching, and then I will see you next time. Goodbye.